Okay. Maybe I'll leave my camera on. I'm gonna change it up. You can see my face when I scream. Not that you're probably looking at the screen, but that's fine. Okay, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Am I ready? I mean,
are any of us ready?
It's 2020. I'm not ready. You're listening to Let's Stay Together Anime Break, the sub-series of Let's Stay Together where we talk about the 2019 anime Fruits Basket. I'm Ellen.
And I'm Kayla.
And I'm Bowie. Today we're discussing Season 2, Episode 24, which was called Here You Are. Here You Are. This is really distracting to have my face. I gotta turn it off. I can't do it.
You don't want to watch yourself act.
I kept looking into my own eyes. Like, it was just really distracting. Act,
like,
yeah, whatever.
Gonna win this staring contest.
I gotta get a BAFTA. Someday I'll get my BAFTA. We're gonna do our summary, spoiler-free discussion, spoiler discussion like we always do. Also, I apologize again in advance if there's the delicate sound of soft, beautiful jazz floating through in the background because my neighbors are having a concert again, which sounds very lovely. But you know,
you're apologizing for the sounds of soft jazz while Bowie is like clanging his door open and closed over here. Good boy. He's off his cage now, so hopefully he'll be quieter. He's literally like was holding the door in his beak and just swinging it open and closed. Slam.
The cage is enrichment, it turns out. Or this episode covered chapters 94 and 95 of the manga, and we covered this in our podcast episode number 49, which was called Am I Needed in This World? In reference to the Machi stuff, I guess. Mm-hmm. This episode was good. I was actually really excited while I was writing the summary this time. I was pleased. The episode opens in the past, with our intrepid student council crew arguing over their Sentai Ranger colors. Machi remembers Yuki asking what color she likes. The moment he asked, I lost all sense of what he asked me, who was standing before me, who I was. I am a void. Then we cut to the opening credits. Strong opening.
Yeah.
After the opening credits, in the present, the student council has wrapped up their end-of-year duties. Now reminds everyone they still have their regular duties to perform, and Kakeru reminds him with a karate chop on the head not to be a wet blanket. What better way to celebrate, Kimi says, than having a get-together at the fancy restaurant that opened up near school they were definitely thinking of taking Kimi to, right? Machi silently puts her work away, then silently collects her bag and tries to ghost out of there, but Yuki calls her out and asks excitedly if she'll join tomorrow as well, and Kimi insists that it's fine if Machi, or Nao, or Kakeru for that matter, don't come, right, Yun? Well, that would be a date, Yuki says. Machi stares back from the doorway. No, thank you, she says. Yuki asks if she's busy, or if there's somewhere else that she'd prefer to go. Again, she thinks. He asked me things I don't know the answer to. He probably doesn't remember last time. She says that he doesn't need to be so considerate of her. Plus, I don't think my personal preferences are any of your concern. I guess you're right, Yuki says. But I want to see what the world looks like through your eyes, Machi. Airheaded idiot! Kakeru screams. Airheads freak me out. People normally can't say stuff like that with a straight face. Say what? It's normal, Yuki shouts. I'm gonna hit you. So unaware and so violent, Kakeru shouts back, and their non-fight is interrupted by all of their phones binging simultaneously as Kimi sends them the info about where to meet up and when to meet up tomorrow. Machi doesn't have a phone, so Yuki writes down a note and hands it with the information and hands it to her. I made a Catherine Tate show reference. Did anybody hear? No, it's fine. Did you ever watch the Catherine Tate show out of all the Doctor Who things that you watched? That one, it's a Lauren Cooper reference. There's like a Lauren Cooper.
I was going to say, I've watched the I ain't even bothered and stuff, but...
Yeah, Lauren Cooper. But there's a sketch where they're on a train, and Lauren Cooper is talking to like one of the friends, and she's like, I think Beyonce's well bing bing, and they're like, don't you mean bling bling? And she's like, no, well bing bing, and then goes back and forth for a while, and then their phone rings, and one of the friends is like, I think I hear your phone binging, mate. Anyway, listen. It's fine. This is completely off topic. This has been completely off topic time. Anyway, the kids head home, and on their way out, Yuki asks Kakeru if the place they're going to is crowded. Oh right, you're a princess. You might faint in a large crowd, he says. Yuki laughs and smiles brightly, then lunges at Kakeru and friend chokes him. Exactly, I'm of good upbringing after all, he says. Machi oversees silently behind them and now sasses them to quit their horsing around, so they release their friend chokeholds on each other, because that's what friends do. Yuki says goodbye to Machi and heads out. Kakeru, arm flung over Yuki's shoulder, says that they should head to the shopping district sometime for some delicious croquettes, and Machi meanwhile lingers in the dark school. Here we take a pause for the beautiful Yuki Kakeru shipping moment, and then we move into the Machi shipping and Yuki shipping part of the episode. As Machi enters her apartment, her phone rings. She answers. It's her mother. Machi's mother comments that she's home late. Student council, Machi answers. All right, her mom forgot about that. She asks how things are as Machi stands in the dark, disheveled apartment. Has Machi made any friends? Her mom wants to know. And how's Kakeru? Machi remembers her mother screaming at her as a child not to let Kakeru best her after school. Her mother saying, what a dull child, and screaming, don't touch him, holding a baby to her chest, and saying, you make it seem like I'm to blame. In the present, Machi says nothing. Silent again. What's going through your head? You haven't changed, her mother says. It's because you're so dull that people don't want to talk to you. Machi stands in front of a broken mirror. A kid calls for Machi's mother in the background. Okay, I'll call again sometime, she says, and hangs up. Dull? It's true that I'm dull, Machi thinks. We pan around the apartment. Garbage left out, dishes undone, books and papers strewn everywhere. I don't know what my favorite color is, she thinks, or my favorite place. I've never thought about it. I desperately struggled to meet demands, only to be abandoned, and left with an empty shell. Machi flops onto her bed in her school uniform. She grabs a bookmark from a school book nearby and looks at it. I haven't changed since then, but he's changed little by little. She remembers Yuki leaving with Kakeru earlier, then we flash back to when she first saw him at school. Girls gather nearby and point him out in the courtyard. The girls can see why he's a prince. He's beautiful. He's a total chick magnet. Machi, however, thought he seemed lonely. A loneliness that gnawed at him every time people treated him special. Now Machi thinks that he smiles from the heart. He's changing. Machi wakes in the messy apartment in her uniform. She stands and wonders if she really has to go to the student council party, which is a field that I know very well.
She's like, sorry, I'm late. I didn't want to come.
Yeah, exactly. She looks at the window and thinks, what the world looks like to me. On the train, she thinks about Yuki. He asks strange things. What does he even mean by the world? I don't even get myself, she thinks, let alone have an awareness of the world. I've always been a void. Nothing. Like a doll of missing parts. A broken doll unable to become human. Defective. Machi walks through the crowded train platform. People pass me by, she thinks, and I pass them by. Are they invisible, or am I? The crowd freezes and goes dark around her. Am I the one unengaged in this world? Is my existence necessary, she wonders? Am I needed in this world? Machi steps out of the train station into the bright morning light. Machi! A familiar voice calls. Yuki waves and comes up to meet her. I thought I came a little too early, but here you are. Machi's taken aback by how happy he seems to see her and stumbles, dropping her bag. He asks if she's all right and starts to pick up her things. Huh? Why a bottle opener? Yuki asks, holding it up. She yanks it out of his hand violently and says that she was half asleep when she packed her bag in the morning. She insists that she doesn't need help packing her stuff, but Yuki has found something else interesting. Machi, is this the maple leaf I gave you? He says, holding up the bookmark we saw earlier. Now we can clearly see that the maple leaf is encased in the bookmark. She quickly turns and snatches it from him. Give that back, she says. Is it a different maple leaf? Yuki asks. It's different, she says. Oh, I'm sorry. It couldn't be, he says. It could not be a different leaf, though, she says. Yuki thinks, so which is it? Machi says that she didn't keep it for any particular reason, just thought that it would be a waste to toss it, so she made it into a bookmark. She remembers holding up the leaf and inspecting it after he gave it to her. That's the only reason, she thinks. Thank you, Yuki says, and Machi asks for what? Well, you seem to treasure it, so that makes me happy, Yuki says. Machi's eyes widen. She blushes deeply, then turns to him. I don't treasure it, she shouts. But you made it a bookmark, he says. I just stuff it in a book. I don't treasure it, she argues back. But you're using it because you like it, right? Yuki argues, and Machi is like, I don't. It's big and hard to use. Take it back. And Yuki's like, don't give it back. Kakeru arrives as Machi and Yuki wrestle back and forth, Machi holding the bookmark in her hand. Should I ask? He says, and Yuki's like, ask. At least ask. What's going on? Kakeru says, and Yuki says that Machi's being stubborn. Machi says it's none of his business, and Kakeru notices the maple leaf and asks if it's the one that Yun gave her. No, it could be, she shouts, and Kakeru's like, which is it? With a smile, he's like, oh, so you like maple leaves. Oh, so you like red? Yuki asks, to Machi's surprise, and Kakeru points out the ribbon that she used from the bookmark is red, too. Yuki says he finally got the answer to the question that he asked before. He remembered, Machi thinks. He's a strange person. Kimi arrives, dragging Nao by the hand, and at the restaurant, Kakeru leans on Yuki and says, so Machi likes red. Machi slams her fist on the table. Nao shouts, and all's well. It was perfect. Everything was perfect.
It was very good.
At Shishou's house, on a completely unrelated part of this episode, Tohru thanks him with an unnecessary amount of pomp and circumstance for enabling her to stay over during New Year's this year. Shishou responds with an equally unnecessary amount of pomp and circumstance. Feels like you're here to be his wife, Kyo grumps. And Tohru is like, what? No! And then insists that she's just giving a proper New Year's greeting, and besides, Shishou has Hana-chan. Don't assume that crap, Kyo says, grabbing Tohru's cheeks. Tohru thinks that this all started with something Yuki said, and we flash back because Tohru is the queen of in media res to an earlier evening. Kyo removes milk from the fridge to drink it out of the carton like an animal, and Tohru shows off the new scarf that she bought, with pom-poms. He says that she'll smack someone with them when she turns around, which she promptly does to him. Shigure interrupts the flirting to ask what Yuki and Kyo will be doing for New Year's. Yuki says that he'll be going back to the main house, but just for the New Year's Eve banquet. Shigure asks why he's not planning to stay longer. I don't know how I feel about leaving her alone with him, he says. Beast! Shigure shouts, and Kyo is like, I'll kill you. Don't worry, Tohru-kun, Shigure says. I'll make sure to take countermeasures to protect you from his evil clutches. And Toru's like, huh? And Yuki's like, beast. Kyo crushes the milk carton and says, I'll kill you both. We will always transition to the present because of Tohru. And Shishou shows Tohru to her room. Shishou mentions that she is staying with them too, and he slides open the bedroom door to reveal Rin, who is obviously surprised that there are other guests. Tohru lunges forward in the room to hug her head first, but Rin dodges, and Tohru slams face first into a wall. Rin yells not to barge in, and Tohru's like, yes, I'm sorry. Rin announces that she's not feeling well and bails, though Tohru protests. No staring each other down today, Shishou asks Kyo and reminds him that he and Rin used to stare each other down for like 10 or 15 minutes easily as kids, which we see Haru observing in a past memory. Tohru asks if they're on bad terms, which she just says they aren't not. Tohru suddenly realizes that she visited Rin at the hospital the other day, but didn't mention that she was being discharged. Shishou explains that she was conditionally discharged, but seems like she wasn't down to attend the banquet, so he offered to let her stay. After all, it would all be for naught if she were to fall ill again.
Good dad, Kazuma.
Yes, he's the best. Kyo says the banquet must be underway by now. Tohru wonders how the Junichi are doing, and we transition to the main house, not with a wibbly-wobbly effect.
It'd be funny if every transition in the episode was that.
Just from
the main house.
There's like chimes too that like
yeah.
It's like every transition from Tohru's perspective should be that from now on. I vote. At the main house, Hattori rips off his fancy dance costume as soon as humanly possible, and Ayame and Ritsu comment on how amazing and wonderful his dance was, and Hattori grumps about it. Shigure reminds him that he'll have to dance with him next year, too. With me, Ayame reminds him. Shigure says that he wanted a picture of Hattori in his outfit for Mayuko. Absurd. You won't sway her with something like that. Wait, you're not back together, are you? Hattori says. No, don't worry about it, Shigure says. Hattori tells him to go back to Akito, and Shigure comments that he has enough attention with Kureno and Yuki by his side. Hattori wonders about Yuki being stuck with Akito. Oh, right, Shigure says. You feel indebted to Yuki, so you're especially attentive. Don't worry, I don't feel indebted to you whatsoever, Hattori reassures him. What she gripes about. Inside the banquet room, the other Junichi gather around Ayame. Kureno sits to the side, and Yuki sits beside Akito, away from the others. Akito is glad that Yuki didn't run away this year. I'll be so kind as to forgive you, he says. Come visit me more often. I forgive you too, Akito, Yuki says and looks down. Akito suddenly looks distant and enraged. No, it's not a matter of forgiving you or not, Yuki continues. I'm sick of blaming others. Yuki thinks of his childhood. He's done with blaming Akito or his mom or Kyo for his issues. I've become aware of the many faults I can improve, Yuki says. If I always blame someone or something, I'll never change. What's that in your eyes? Akito says. We see a flash of Kureno crying, surrounded by feathers in a middle school uniform, and a voice says, No, don't go! Akito slams a pitcher into Yuki's forehead in the present. Apologize! Akito screams. Kureno jumps up and holds him back, and the other Junichi freeze. Apologize! Apologize! Sorry, Yuki says. Akito drops the pitcher and leaves to another room. Ayame rushes to Yuki's side to tend to him. Hattori says to Ayame to bring Yuki over. Ayame picks him up, saying, Right away, Tori-san! Don't die on me, Yuki! Together at death, the promise that we made as we watch the sunset on the banks of the Seine shines brightly within my heart. We made no promise and we never saw that, Yuki says. As Ayame continues with the dramatics, Yuki imagines Akito as a child when they first met. I'll never return to your side, he thinks. Hattori tends to Yuki. He says that despite Ayame's theatrics, the wound isn't too deep, but he might want to get it checked out at the hospital. Yuki thanks him. Hattori apologizes for not interceding earlier, but Yuki says it's okay. Akito might have gotten angrier. Hattori asks what Yuki said to Akito. Not much, he says. I just don't want to blame others. Oh, I need to apologize to you too, Hattori. From when I was a kid. I think somewhere inside me I blamed you for a long time. Hattori remembers Yuki begging him not to erase his friend's memories. Sorry, I was still a kid, Yuki continues, even though you were hurt too, Hattori. Hattori rubs Yuki's head and says there's nothing to apologize for. You're so kind, he says. Thank you. And Yuki smiles a soft smile. Aw, it was cute. Just don't become like your big brother, Hattori says, and Yuki's like, I won't. And Ayame, hearing that he was clearly called, of course, bursts in.
It's a little bit like, have I been summoned?
Yes. Ayame's brilliant in this scene. This whole scene. Elsewhere, Shigure finds Haru leaving to see Rin. Haru asks if he'll go tend to Akito. Why do I always have to be the one to patch things up? Shigure whines. Plus, I'm not feeling it right now. Haru says he's moody, and Shigure says he's always in the mood. And then Haru takes off. As Shishou's, Kyo explains to Tohru why he and Rin had their staring matches. Shishou is so caring. He was jealous of Rin getting attention from him. Tohru says it's cute, and Kyo wonders where Rin went off to, and we see her sleeping in a corner upstairs. Tohru asks what Kyo will wish for this New Year's, and he's like, well, you have to tell your wish when you ask someone. And she's like, you're right, I'm sorry for my rudeness. Last year, she wished for Kyo and Yuki to get along. This year, she wishes for the curse to break, for happiness to come, and for change. We cut back to the main house when Luigi finds Kureno alone at the estate and slips a DVD labeled Watch This Alone in his back pocket, which is not suspicious at all.
Sketchy.
Yes. At Shishou's house, Haru visits Rin as she sleeps and hugs her. And we cut to the credits. Yay! Oh, you said dun dun dun. I said yay? I'm confused. There's a lot of things that happen in this episode. There's like two completely separate episodes in this episode. Wait, why were you dun dun dunning? I'm curious.
Just for fun.
Okay. I mean, yeah, Momiji did give Kureno a DVD that says Watch This Alone, which is definitely suspicious.
Just like, it's my porn collection.
Yeah. I was going to say, well, he's going to die in 7 days.
You seem like you need to lighten up.
He's like, you need to relax, man. He also slips him a joint. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't suspicious at all. But also, I think we know what it is, which is the play. But it is funny. If someone gave me a DVD that was like, watch this alone, I'd be like, I'll never watch this. Just go straight in the garbage. So let's talk about the first half of the episode first. How about that? Let's just do it up chronologically. So yeah, Yuki and Kakeru continue to develop in their romance. I mean, their friendship. All very important. I was like, Kakeru's being really touchy this episode. Is this?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like I guess on a serious note, the nice thing is that Yuki's never had like friends that he's close with, right? So it's nice that he just like gets to like be all chummy with all the student council and Kakeru in particular.
And yeah, we've talked about how like a lot of the GDC like obviously have like physical contact issues.
Yes.
So it's kind of nice to see
reasons,
him.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see him like just like, you know, casually like able to interact with people and even like initiating like contact and stuff.
You mean initiating choking? Yes.
Friendly choking.
Friend choking. Have you not choked your friend recently? You're not doing it right.
And even just his little like grapple with Machi too, where he's like he doesn't seem too concerned about it. He's just annoyed with her like being stubborn.
I think like both times I wrote this episode, I struggled to figure out what to call that. This time I think I said wrestling, but grappling is actually a good description.
Yeah.
They're just like I
think what's happening is she's trying to like shove the bookmark at him, and he's like holding her hands back.
Yeah. She's like, take it back, and he's like, don't give it back. Like it's so good. That scene is wonderful. Hearing
of Kakeru coming back and being like, should I ask? Or
I like how Yuki is so like, why'd you pack a bottle opener in your bag? And she's like, I just threw it in there. And he's like, but really, a bottle opener? Like he's so confused. And then he's like, oh, this bookmark. It's like, is that the maple leaf I gave you? And she's like, no. And then he's like, oh, it must be something else. And she's like, well, maybe it's not. And he's like, what? It's like, if I had to literally translate it, the way that she says this line is like, it's not an undifferent leaf. It's like really funny. Because you could like conjugate adjectives in Japanese. So she's like, it's the negative form of different. So it's like even better.
Not bad.
It's not the leaf that you gave me. And Kakeru says the same thing. And she's like, it's not. Definitely not. Like, it's not definitely not the leaf that you gave me. It's really funny.
Yeah. We get to see like Machi's weirdness on full display, which is fun.
Because we did get to see just so little of her. This is finally like the most we've seen of her like personality and her struggle from her perspective. So we've seen a lot of her being distant and quiet and socially awkward and struggling to answer Yuki's very basic questions that a lot of people have answers to, like, what's your favorite color? Do you want to go to this place or not? And she just can't, because we saw kind of a glimpse of her past and how it seems like that's all related to her mother, obviously, related to her family, but specifically her mother is the target in these memories.
Yeah. And
I guess we know that they have a tenuous relationship because of what Kakeru told Yuki before, too.
Yeah, it occurred to me while watching this that like Machi has some similarities to Rin
Hmm.
in like the way they have the like I'm not really a person,
Hmm.
I'm not needed kind of like
Hmm.
thoughts.
That's very interesting. I've
Mhm.
never thought about that. I think they have very similar lines too. Doesn't Rin say she's a
Yeah,
doll that's
yeah,
broken and stuff?
that's like especially what made me think of it and just her like whole like I'm a void, I'm like not really
I'm
here
not.
thing. We had the whole thing about like Rin like referring to herself as like an object rather than a person and all that stuff.
Hmm. Interesting. Oh, I'm so excited. The tingly feeling when you find out something new. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I never thought about that, but you're right. It's an astute observation.
Yeah, and of course the whole like "am I needed" thing is kind of a running, I don't know, through line in like the series for a lot of characters.
I think especially Yuki, it's meant to
Hmm.
be a. I always interpreted this as a drawing similarities. This chapter in particular is drawing similarities between Yuki and Machi.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, like it's obviously supposed to show like she even talks about like how far Yuki has come and
yeah, of
changed
course,
compared to
makes
herself, where she
sense.
feels like she can't change and hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of show like Machi at like an earlier point in her uh, character development.
Machi is the Yuki now.
Yeah,
Machi's the new Yuki.
yeah. Don't worry, Machi. Someday you too can become an asshole.
She's on her way. I mean, she was so
Yeah.
sassy during the fight. Like, it's
Mhm.
just beneath the surface.
Yeah.
She just needs another asshole to help unlock her personality, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It would be wrong to say that Machi doesn't have a personality. She obviously thinks of herself that way,
Yeah.
but she clearly has a personality when provoked. So,
Hmm. Yeah. I think it's
yeah.
just like she's been encouraged like not to really think about that, and so
Mm-hmm.
like when she's asked like obviously she's a personality because everyone does, but like
Yes.
when she's asked like direct questions about her like preferences and stuff, she's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Like,
What's a preference?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because like we have the whole thing with her like it's like she obviously does like the color red because she like
Mm.
consciously like chose to like put the bookmark together and be like, oh, this would look good with a red ribbon and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Like
Yeah, she
even if she
composed it.
didn't, yeah,
Yeah.
I know she didn't like wasn't thinking about it. She just like put it together.
Yeah. She certainly liked the leaf. She
Hmm.
denies it, but obviously Yuki's like, "Oh, thank you for taking care of it," and she's like, "I'm not." It's like
Yeah,
you are, like you obviously are. I think she just isn't. She's uncomfortable with being given that attention as well. So,
yeah,
which Yuki was too. She actually called that out in her when she's thinking about him, where it's like, "Oh, whenever he got special treatment,
hmm,
he seemed like he was even more lonely." So,
yeah,
I mean, she's used to being ignored. It seems she lives alone, even though her mother called her. We're seeing.
hmm,
Kakeru said that she has a brother before, right?
yeah. Because he
Yeah.
said that like
They had another kid,
they
and
had another
so
kid, and so it like kind of
it
made the inheritance issue like go
not a
away.
non-issue.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
So her. I mean, there was another kid calling in the background. So
Hmm.
of the mom's her phone call. So we can assume that her brother lives there, and Machi clearly lives in an apartment by herself that she's not able to keep very well.
Yeah,
Um. So
'cause she's a teenager.
yeah, I mean, any of the description that I said about Machi's apartment applied to all of the apartments I lived in as a
Yeah,
like a 22-year-old or like a college student and beyond. So
yeah.
and even oftentimes today,
Yeah,
like
I was gonna say, I was like, mine's not that much neater.
I forgot about all the dishes from making stock this morning, or just piled in the sink, probably with the sink dripping on them too, just like Machi's. But Machi's making like mac and cheese in one pot, and then it's like 3 pots later, she's like cleaning all of it. Also, she has all
Yeah.
the she doesn't think about anything other than getting her schoolwork done and like showing up
Hmm.
and doing that, because it's the only thing it seems like her parents ever wanted her to do. There was like the memory of her mom yelling like, you have to be better than Kakeru or whatever.
Hmm.
So that's like all she does. Like the prominently kept objects in her house are the like school books and notebooks and stuff. And they don't seem to be like pristine, but they're like on top of everything else and like on her
Yeah.
bed and on her desk and stuff. So
Yeah, and even like most of the stuff that like dumps out of her bag when
yeah, that's all her school crap.
she drops it is all like blue books and stuff.
She shows up in her uniform, which is in the story, of course, is like she just woke up late and stuff. But it's like I think it's like kind of a visual symbol of that too. Like
Hmm.
the other kids show up in their like their street clothes, right?
Yeah.
And she arrives still in her uniform, so it differentiates her a little bit there too.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't think is like super unusual, especially in Japan, but like, I mean, they call it out, so.
Yeah.
And it's like not a school day, she doesn't have to go to school, so.
Mm-hmm.
They said it's winter break, take off your uniform, Machi.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think in this case it specifically helps deliver that message. This is kind of the only thing it's the only thing that she has as a part of her identity, I guess.
Yeah.
At least if she thinks about herself. If she even thinks about, I mean, it doesn't seem like, I feel like school, the way she talks, it's not like, that doesn't take place, none of that comes up in her, like, narrative about herself, where her inner monologue about herself, where she's just like, I'm completely empty. These are all, like, it's, like, stuff that she does. She's just, didn't she say, like, frantically struggling, she said that she was frantically struggling to meet expectations and was abandoned. That was, like, the very first part of her inner monologue. Yeah. So not even a self-imposed, I guess, desire to do well at school or whatever.
Yeah, it's like just like a habit. Like she doesn't know what else to do because that's like the only thing she was encouraged to care about.
Yeah.
So.
Encouraged by yelling, yeah.
Yeah. Gently encouraged.
Gently abused to care about, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And like she's implied to be a good student since she was like, chosen for the student council and everything.
That's right. They're all top of their class apparently.
Yeah.
According to Makoto.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
You got it right.
I
did.
This will haunt me. It will haunt me for years. But yeah, so she's definitely, I think her grades still stand. There's like the flashback memory of all of them, but I think she's still like recognized as, or it's implied that she's a good student currently too.
Mm-hmm.
The memories and stuff are directed at her mom, but I have a suspicion that her whole family's in on it because like it's the secession issue. So
yeah,
do people say secession?
I feel like
succession. Yeah, secession is when you leave.
It's when you
leave your country.
Take your ball and leave your country.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. What's going on today? It's all the jazz.
Damn that jazz music.
I gotta stay away from jazz and liquor.
Hurting our youth.
And the men who play for fun.
Yes.
And that's a requisite musical reference for today. Anyway, Machi's family's bad.
Yeah.
Depending on how much I cut in and out of this tangent, but they're awful. And then it is an interesting parallel to like Rin's family because they had this, I guess in Machi's case it seems like they were putting a lot of pressure on her, but not to form any kind of personality or whatever. Then Rin's case is just like she just feels like it's like her parents ignored her. It kind of produced a similar result. Well, they didn't just ignore her. They ignored and also abused her, as it seems.
Violently
ignored. It's not ignoring. It's just like I don't even know. I don't know how to describe it.
It's like there's severe neglect mixed with severe abuse. So.
Neglect. That's the word. Mm-hmm. And neglect is like willful ignoring. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, they neglected her, and in Machi's case, it's like her parents seem to have neglected her, blossoming individuality, I guess, and then pressure her to focus on other things to be a more viable heir.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a reverse thing of like what Rin's family did, where they were like outwardly awful at the beginning, and then like now they're just like, oh, everything's fine now. Mm-hmm. Even though it's very much not.
Nope.
Because like her mom's obviously like talking to her like real casually, like this is normal, like
and she's just like, hey, what's
call
up?
your estranged daughter in her filthy apartment that she lives in by herself, and go like, oh, you're giving me the silent treatment, you're so dull. Oh well, I'll talk to you later. Like,
I know, it's so infuriating. Yeah, she's like, hey, oh, you're home late. Like, how's it going? You making some friends? How's Kakeru? Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And then Machi doesn't say anything, and then she's like, again with this, bye, basically. Like, it's so crazy.
Yeah, I especially found the contrast of her like being like, oh, are you getting along with Kakeru, with her flashback of her like screaming at her to be better than him.
So disingenuous.
As a child. Like, yeah.
Yes. Yes. I always feel it's difficult to speak about these things on this podcast because, like, I mean, I don't know. I grew up in a privileged situation where none of this applied. So,
Yeah.
but it's just like, it just makes me mad. It makes me so mad. It's so crazy. So yeah, it is really disturbing when you have that, like, the flashback of her mom yelling to be better than Kakeru, and then she's like, yeah, how's Kakeru doing? Because none of it all matters to her anymore. And it seems like Machi doesn't matter very much to her anymore, obviously, since she's been shipped off to this other apartment and whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay, she has her student council friends now.
Yeah. She has her new weird family.
Yeah, her quote-unquote chosen family.
Yeah.
More of another type of forced family.
Yeah.
I mean, Kakeru's trying to be nice to her. Yuki's clearly trying to be nice to her, too.
I do that little end scene where they're in the restaurant and, like, Kakeru teases her and she, like, slams her fist down and now it's like, stop being violent in public.
Yeah. He's like, you could be violent at home in the student council room, but not in public. And Kimi's just there for the lols, of course.
Yeah.
Kimi was in top Kimi form. Actually, is there any other things? Well, so Machi has actually really enjoyed the scenes of Machi on the train and walking through the train station, and when she's like, am I invisible to people, or are they invisible to me? And then it has this, like, it like freezes and stuff, and she walks to the train station.
Yeah, there was some nice
visual
storytelling and show Machi's, like, isolation and feeling broken and stuff.
Yes. I was going to say especially towards Wibbly Wobbly flashback, but
yes.
Then he said something actually poignant, so I couldn't. Yeah, there were some nice... I enjoyed the amount of attention... The reason this episode made me happy is because of multiple things, but particularly the amount of attention and delicacy given to Machi's story at this point. So we had the phone call and her going to meet the student council and these moments that she observed with Yuki and stuff like that. That were all, I think, just tenderly treated in a way that only Machi deserves.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, and then she runs into Yuki and then fights with him about whether or not it's the leaf, and then fights with him about whether or not she likes it, and then fights with him about whether or not he should take it back. It's interesting because it's obvious that she likes it. Like, she has some kind of natural preference for it, but she doesn't consciously think of herself as being like or liking a certain thing. So she can develop an identity. Still in high school. I feel like people's identities change so much in high school, you know? Like how Kakeru calls Yuki natural idiot or whatever, airheaded idiot or whatever for being nice to her. He's like, I want to see the world through your eyes.
I love how he first yells that, and then and Yuki's like, "What? You're so loud."
There was a lot of good fighting in this.
Yeah,
it's nice. It was kind of depressing when we have to go back to, like, the banquet in the middle, and you're just like, oh, we're here again in the Soma house where the fighting is going to be not funny.
Not fun.
No.
But yeah, I would say if there's, like, a connecting aspect between the, like, two halves of the episode, it would be like Yuki's come so far.
Yes. He has. I love his, like, the speech that he gives to Akito, which just, like, pushes him over the edge and stuff, but it's great nonetheless, where he's like, I don't want to blame people anymore. Like, I know what I want to fix about myself, or what I want to work on about myself. And I know I have these problems, and I just wanted to, like, Yuki's doing some cleanup work here in his family, being like, I forgive you for the things that you did that hurt me and whatever, which completely enrages Akito. But with Itori, then he's able to, what's the word? They have some closure on the thing that happened when Yuki was a little kid. So when Itori was forced to erase all this kid's memories when he was, like, a high school student, and Yuki blamed him for that, and then he felt guilty about it, which is what they were kind of referencing, what Shigure and Hattori were talking about right beforehand and stuff too. So
yeah, it's a nice moment. That's always been one of my favorite, like, little moments in the series.
It's great. Hattori's a great character. I kind of wish he was in the series more, but he gets his moment in the spotlight very early on in the story, and then he's kind of around to be like, Shigure, stop, Shigure, please stop, you know, like a couple times, and patch up people's wounds like this episode. So and of course, I guess he had his other moment in the spotlight with Mayu. So I did like the brief little thing of Shigure trying to get a photo of Hattori for Mayuko, and then he's like, wait, are you guys back together? And Shigure's like, no, not me. So Tori think he's like super smooth, and that Shigure doesn't know that they're like, maybe they're not back together yet or whatever. I don't know, but Shigure was being peak grouchy this episode.
Yeah,
I noticed. Like Haru's like, hey, you gonna go talk to Akito? And he's like, why do I have to do it all the time? I don't want to do that. And like,
yeah, he's very much like he seems to be currently in the one of the valleys of the peaks and valleys of the Shigure and Akito relationship.
yeah.
Yeah, even like earlier when he's talking to Hattori, he's like, "Are you going to see Akito?" And he's like, "Oh, he's fine. He's got Kureno and Yuki."
Yeah, he's like,
"Why would he need me?"
He has so many other people around him that I'm definitely not jealous of in any way.
Yeah.
It was interesting how in this so like in the manga it was set up so that Yuki and Kureno were sitting side by side, like flanking Akito, but in this case Kureno was like off to the side. I think that's how it was. So he's even further removed from everyone else, so a little bit of a change, which was interesting. Not super significant, but an interesting placement of people. And the scene where I didn't really notice it as much in the manga, I guess, but that scene where Yuki's talking to Akito, it's so painfully obvious how separated they are from everyone else, because you have like the perspective of the camera shifting from everyone crowding around Ayame to where Akito is like very stark.
Yeah.
Of course, and then on a note of lesser importance, but still very important, Ayame was there to pick up Yuki when he had fallen, so that they could remember the promise that they made on the banks of the Seine. So I enjoyed that part.
Yeah.
He's a good brother.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Ayame's being very Ayame about it, but it is sweet that he's like instantly at like Yuki's side to try to get him taken care of.
He said that nothing would stop them, not even the school letting strangers into the or letting the public in or whatever.
It's okay, they have a permit.
Yes. It says it's fine. That was good. Elsewhere, New Year's though, I guess in the rest of the episode we have Tohru visiting. Oh wait, speaking of Shigure, I wanted to say that I loved that scene where Yuki's like, oh, I'm worried about Kyo and Tohru being alone together, and Shigure's like, beast! And then Kyo grumps, and then Yuki's like, beast later, which is so good.
I thought Yuki's always willing to like go along with Shigure's ridiculousness if it results in taunting Kyo.
Yeah, pretty much. And why wouldn't you? Because he's so great to taunt, like, obviously.
Everybody says it's so deadpan too, like Shigure's all dramatic about it, whatever, but he's just like, beast.
Yeah. Kyo's like, I'll kill you both.
Yeah.
Toru's like, huh? Of course. So elsewhere, in the rest of the episode, which takes place at the wonderful Great Dad Kazuma's house, Tohru ends up visiting for New Year's, and we get a little tiny bit of extra backstory, but really it's just a vehicle to see Rin again, I guess, and a little bit about Kyo. So there's the scene where Kyo talks about how he was jealous of Rin as a little kid, because Shishou also was nice and gave her attention as well. I mean, it's just a little moment, but then it just ties into Tohru asking what he wants to wish for, and she reiterates that she hopes the curse will break and that everyone will be happy, and then we close on the ominous DVD, and then Haru visiting Rin as she was asleep. So yes, so Omiji delivered the DVD. Important.
Yeah. I've always liked the specific phrasing of her saying like she wishes for the curse to break, for happiness to come, and for change. Because like that's the whole big thing of the series is change.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like we're starting to like the thing it seems that Akito was upset about is how Yuki's changing, right? Like Akito was like, "Oh, you're back. Why don't you come see me more?" or whatever. And then Yuki's like, "Actually, I've learned some things about myself, and I want to move forward. And also, I forgive you for all the stuff that you did." And yeah. And then Akito's like, what the fuck? And then attacks him. So
yeah, I think the specific like Akito's afraid, which I think is pretty obvious. And like I like the specific the bit when he says like I'll never return to your side again. I liked the use of like baby Akito in that scene, because in the manga it's just kind of like a generic like picture of Akito.
Yeah.
When he says that, but I like the use of like baby Akito back when they like were kind of friends.
When they first met.
Yeah, before Akito like became really, really abusive.
Right.
just a little abusive.
Was just a angry child instead of,
Yeah.
Or like an isolated child instead of an abusive cult leader. Yes.
Yeah.
You're right. It is kind of like just a generic Akito from behind. It's like Akito leaving the room.
Yeah, I liked it because it made it almost like it does seem like Yuki is somewhat genuine and like apologizing that he won't be able to return to Akito's side. Like, it's like he doesn't regret it. Obviously, he needs to get out of there, but I think he does realize that it's obviously something that freaks Akito out on a very visceral level. So
I think he knows that. Yeah, exactly. He knows that Akito. I don't know. I think he knows on some level, like a subconscious level, that Akito is afraid of change. Like, you can see it in his earlier interaction with Akito too. I think where he treats it a little bit more tenderly, like at the or a little more delicately, like at the beach. Like when I'm just thinking, I don't know why, but it kind of what you said reminded me of the time where Akito was talking to Kyo and then was like washing his hands after, and then Yuki was like, Akito's like, oh, I took care of it. He definitely doesn't love her. And Yuki's like, yeah, totally. You know, like kind of acknowledging that Akito has this perspective that's fixed in life. And then being like, yeah, I don't want to stay like this forever. So yeah, he done growed. He did a good job. He told Akito to Akito's face. That was also important. Any other things that you want to say that aren't spoilery?
I don't think so.
Well, good. We chatted it up efficiently, I feel.
We did.
Yes. Okay. Well, next time we're going to talk about episode 25, which is called I'm Different Now.
It's like, are you?
No? I'm pretty much the same as I was last week, to be frank. How about you? Any major life events last week?
No, not really.
You know, it's fall. It's a time for change.
Yeah. Hasn't really acted like it here yet, so.
That's true. I'm much farther north, so.
Yeah, the temperature's a little cooler, but
yeah,
you know, I could go with some pretty leaves and stuff.
Yeah, it's about. Well, I mean, it's only about to start. There's like I saw like 2 trees that are changing here, so in about a week or 2, I'm sure it'll be like full fall time. But
That's one of the best things about living in Vermont. It had crazy good fall change.
Nice.
You got the
Good
leaf
snap.
peepers come up, which sounds like a kind of frog to me.
I was gonna say sounds like something you could get arrested for, but not put in jail for. And it's also pumpkin spice season. It's pumpkin season.
Yeah.
So can't really go wrong.
I should make a pie.
I should make a pie too. It's almost Canadian Thanksgiving.
There you go.
We have only a couple weeks to go, I guess, because it'll be the 2nd week of October. Am I just talking out of my butt? I forget what day. It's the same day as Columbus
Don't ask
Day.
me.
It's whenever Columbus Day is. It's the same day.
The 12th of October.
Yes, that's when Canadian Thanksgiving is. So
It's Columbus Day, U.S. Thanksgiving Day, Can.
Can. That's where I live. I live in Can. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. 3 weeks until turkey for me.
And the 26th is a bank holiday, IRL. I'm assuming it means
Ireland.
Ireland in real life.
In real life. Well, that's good. All right. Anyway. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time. I guess next time's the last episode, right? Season finale.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. Also, everybody don't panic. We'll be back when the season comes back when the new season is released. We'll be back. Don't worry. It's
Whenever
gonna be
that
okay.
is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I assume it'll be spring, but 2020's still not over yet, guys. So who knows? Who knows what'll happen?
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back to cover the rest of it. Huh?
It's like barring extreme circumstances,
Yes.
we'll return.
We shall return. Also, you can everybody tune in to our Full Metal Alchemist podcast that starts on October 3rd.
Yes.
Yes.
It'll be good.
It will be good. We recorded the first episode and it's good. I can confirm because I edited it. So it's good. And it's a good series. So you should, if you haven't read it before, you definitely should.
Yep.
And we're not talking
Take
about
it
the
as an
anime, so
excuse.
deal with it. I mean, what?
Yeah. Take it as an excuse and read Full Metal
Yeah, it's
Alchemist.
winter. We were just talking about how many books and things we should read during the winter because we won't be going outside anymore. So this is a great opportunity for you to really get invested in a new something. So
Yes. New old series.
yeah, a new old series. So yeah, join us for FMA. Anyway, join us next week for the season finale of Fruits Basket, we assume. And we'll see you then. Woo.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, I almost stopped the recording. I forgot we need to talk about spoilers.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep, the end. That'll be next time. Actually, we can talk about spoilers next time because it'll be spoilers for the next season, I guess. But, you know, it's almost like we have a plan for this podcast.
Almost. Something resembling one.
Yeah. I mean, I have a script. There's one note in it this time for actual discussion. This is my one note for discussion that I wrote. Did we talk about how Yuki and Akito are similar for being sort of like, I wrote in my note, lauded as for Yuki as a prince, for example, and Akito as the god of the zodiac, but they feel internally like they're outsiders and lonely.
I think we did a bit in like Yuki's flashback episode.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about how they're both like so isolated.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we have talked about it before, but it was something that this episode reminded me, especially when they're, so you have early in the episode, you have like Machi's, like talking about how Yuki used to be, and then later you see Yuki with Akito, and I was like, and then all the rest of the Junie share in the other part of the room, and I was like, oh yeah, that is a thing that happened.
Yeah.
But Yuki has grown and Akito has not, so.
Yep.
At least not yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's...
Not in a good way.
Yeah, Akito approaches this problem completely differently than Yuki. I mean, you could say that it's bad, but that might be labeling it, you know, very intensely and subjectively, I feel. After all, there's more than one way to solve a problem.
Akito abuses people to cope.
Yeah, obviously. It's totally
Can't judge that. This is deep
sarcasm. I was gonna say, I think I hope they know us by now. We've only talked about the show for like 300 hours, like, or the series for so long. Yeah, no, it's bad. It's very bad. Yuki's we get to also see that as a direct contrast too, because Yuki's like, I forgive you for all these things and I don't want to blame people anymore, and Akito's immediately like, no, and then and it goes back to abusing him when she's uncomfortable. So yeah. When
you think Akito like had the like Kill Bill alarms going off in her head during that time conversation?
I definitely think that. Where is the AMV? Probably already exists. Yeah, especially because of the shot of like the eyes for the prolonged shot of Akito's face. Yeah, for sure. I haven't thought about Kill Bill in such a long time. Thank you, I appreciate it. Except for every time we talk about our knives in our friend chat.
Which is more than you would think.
Even more than you would think, for sure. My husband was talking to my friend about this knife set that she bought, and about how to. We were talking about if we sharpen them or not. This is all boring. Is anyone listening anymore?
It's like, oh look, we lost 7 subscribers. Yeah, basically. Let's do next 3 seconds.
He was like, "You have Japanese steel. You don't have to sharpen it." And I was like, "I need Japanese steel," and then nobody responds to me every single time I say it. It's literally what she says when she goes to get the sword. Every time we talk about knives, I'm like, I need Japanese steel. Anyway, if you're like a weird food obsessed person like us, like me at least, you should definitely invest in a nice Japanese knife that won't do you wrong, except for when it accidentally cuts you, but that's really on you, not on the knife. I think it's on you being dumb. At least in my case, it's always me. Anyway, listen. Japanese steel aside, so yeah, Akito's bad. At least Akito's behavior is bad objectively at this point. We said Akito's not a villain, and Akito is not. So that's, Akito has her own issues.
Yeah.
Was there nobody went and comforted her in the chapter as well, right? Because I think, come back. I just put the book away. Why did I do that?
Yeah, I don't think anyone, at least not on screen. Like, I think we see Kureno like stare after her when she storms off.
Yes.
But we don't necessarily see him follow. And obviously Shigure like straight up says like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah. He's like, fuck that. I'm so mad at Kureno right now. You go take
I don't wanna.
Yeah, pretty much. He says it in that tone too in the anime, which was really funny to me.
Yeah.
He's like, why do I have to do this? I'm not doing it. Basically. Super nasal. It was really funny. Yeah, you're right. Kureno picks up the vase, and then Akito just kind of takes off in the background. Yeah. Casually.
Yeah. I do always appreciate Kureno, like, jumping to restrain her after she, like, smashes into Yuki's face.
Well, I think we know that he's the only one who could have. Like, you see really great shots. I think they did a good job of emphasizing, like, how, in this episode, how scared everybody else is of Akito. Because they're just, like, frozen. Like, here you see Hiro's face, and he's, like, sweating. Like, it's just very interesting. Even Hattori, people who we see as being, like, older and maybe having more power within the family, like Shigure, they all stand to the side. I mean, Shigure probably doesn't want to deal with it at this point. But, like, they're all just... Until Akito leaves, they're all kind of like completely frozen, even Ayame.
Yeah.
So Kureno's basically, I think, the only one who could. Although we saw Shigure do that before with Hattori, so he could have, but he was like, nah, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about Yuki and his problems. He's like, I saved him. What more do you want? I gave him a place to live. What more are you asking me to do here? It's not my responsibility. He literally said at some point in the story.
Yeah.
Hattori's like, you're a monster.
Yeah. I feel like you know that meme with like the Sailor Moon thing with Tuxedo Mask where it's like my work here is done. They're like, but you didn't do anything. And he leaves. I feel like it's kind of like that with Shigure, except he's like, why do I have to do everything? Yeah. And they're like, you don't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, what's an episode without Shigure without a little Shigure mashing? In this case, I think it was deserved, though. He didn't do anything helpful in the episode. He just was sassy to people.
Yeah.
He made an appearance. It's fine. I mean, he called Kyo a beast, which is the most important thing, really.
Yeah. I think he's kind of like throwing a subtle temper tantrum in this whole chapter.
Pretty much. In fact, it lasted for a while, too, from my recollection. There was like a couple chapters where he was just like, I'm not fucking dealing with this anymore, basically. Yeah. And that was his way of trying to get Akito to, like, change and do stuff and notice him, but she just kind of like retreated more to Kureno, and that didn't work out in the end. None of that worked out in the end for anybody.
No.
This is the scheme that I always like make fun of Shigure for. Like, there's the scene where Hattori's like, so did everything work the way you want? And he's like, not really. It's like he wanted Akito to come, like, not crawling back to him, but he wanted Akito to just come back to him, and what happened was all the other stuff that happened in the series. So
yeah, what happened was literally everything else. That.
He really underestimated Akito's like stubbornness and deep emotional insecurity. So
yeah, I think that's one of their like big problems. Like, is that they spend their entire life trying to out-stubborn each other, but they're both incredibly stubborn.
Yeah, I could see that continuing even past the end of the series.
Yeah.
Too. But yes, anyway, so that's why he's so pissed off. But I mean, yeah. Which is not unreasonable. Listen, I hear you. Yeah. I hear all of you. I hear you all screaming. If you didn't stop if you didn't skip 30 seconds ahead when we started bashing Shigure, I've heard you. I've heard your screams in the void. I get it. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, he is deeply hurt. But you know,
it's like they're both terrible, and that's why they belong together.
But don't let Akito bash Yuki in the face with a face, man. Yeah. What did Yuki do? He didn't do anything. Shigeru's like, he takes attention away from me, and therefore he's bad. Yeah. Any other serious spoilers to talk about? I guess there's like all the other stuff, but everything else that happened in the episode.
Yes, we should be getting our big reveals next, so that'll be exciting.
What a good way to end the season.
Definitely get at least the Kureno reveal, but I feel like we'll probably get the Akito reveal too.
I think so. There's no way that it's structured like this, and you wouldn't have that scene.
Yeah.
Because yeah,
because they lead right into each other.
Totally.
So
they are interrelated. I do love the scene where there's like that Tumblr post that goes around where it's like Kureno saying, "I'm different now," and they're like, "Why?" And he's like, "I can't eat worms anymore." So when the episode title was like, "I'm different now," I was like, "God damn it."
Yeah.
Damn you. It's really funny. So yeah, that's definitely going to happen for sure. That's the episode quote. And I'm sure that it will be, because like you wouldn't start off a season with that. That would just be insane. Because like you don't go in and then you're like, oh my God, everything's different than it was like at the end. I thought this was like just a series of people who weren't birds anymore, you know? Turns out there's even more. But yeah, man, next season's going to be such a doozy. Think about all the things that are going to happen.
Yeah. Everything happens so much.
Everything happens so much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to be good. Next episode will be good. There's going to be Burbs. Oh, is Bowie going to join us for... Do we need to have a subject matter expert interview with Bowie?
Yes.
He'd be like,
The show Bowie thoughts on Burbs.
Not enough birds. Not enough seeds.
Burb about burb.
Burb on burb. It's like burb riding burb.
Yeah, the only previews I see so far are like Sad Carino. So.
Okay, well, they're not gonna do it.
Yeah, but they and Baby Sad Akito.
Okay, well, yes, well, yeah.
So
that sad girl, yes. But yeah, I guess other spoilers were, of course, we have Machi and Yuki's relationship. So Machi will get more the next set in her backstory in season 3, I assume, and then
yeah, I forgot that didn't all happen at once.
Yeah, that's why I was really confused. And same with like the I was like, oh, how to talk about this in a delicate way? But I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's her mom and her mom pulling the baby away, and like, I mean, she didn't say anything about that yet, which is the big reveal from that scene. So
yeah,
we will get that later. But it was just nice. I'm just happy about Machi.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I just get like struck with delight that we got animated student council stuff now.
Even one season. It's also like every moment, every student council scene is like exactly how it is. It's like, yeah, it's like exactly how it's like acted in the seems like it would be from the manga. Yeah. So it's never disappointing.
And they're just like yeah, and they were like those scenes were like meant to be animated and voiced.
Oh
like...
my god, we didn't talk about how great Kimi was in this in the non-spoilers. I forgot about that. But Kimi was in top Kimi form again today. That's all I have to say. I mean, I don't have anything actually important to say, and I love how she dragged Nao out into the thing.
I love how like used to Kimi Yuki is at this point. Like still like thrown off by her at the beginning, but now he's just like when she's like, "Oh, if no one else wants to come, that'd be okay." And he's like, "Well, that would be a date." So he's just like not flustered at all. It's just like
matter of fact.
No,
it's like, that's not happening.
Kimi, no.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because it's Kimi suggested, and then she turns around and is like, "Actually, if nobody else wanted to come, it would be fine too," which is great. It's like, "Oh, don't worry, Machi."
It's like Kimi, no, and she's like, "Kimi, yes."
Yeah, exactly. It's like to quote another good meme would be like nobody, and then like nothing, and then it's like Kimi. So you were thinking of taking Kimi on a date, weren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I love how she introduces that as like, yeah, it's like you were all thinking of taking Kimi there, right?
Yeah. It just like the like it's like this natural like, oh, we should all go to this new restaurant. It's super great. It's great, isn't it? And anyway, you were thinking of taking Kimi there already, weren't you? Like it's like just like a natural thought, like a normal person would have. Yes, so Kimi's scene I appreciated very much. We had the continuation of Kakeru teasing Machi and also Yuki, which is good. That will happen more or continue to happen. Now continues to be a grump as predicted. Yeah. I wonder if they'll animate. I guess they'll do the Nao's confession stuff.
Yeah.
They must.
They had him like declaring Yuki his rival. So.
Oh, yeah. You can't write it out now. Now.
Or first love, depending on who you listen to.
First love. Whenever you hate someone, it automatically means you love them. That's how stories work. Everybody knows that. Does anyone ever wonder why they're confused about relationships, like in real life? Because they're definitely not like books almost ever. Like, he hates me? That means he loves me. No, he actually hates you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's like I didn't have nearly as many sexually charged arguments as lead me to believe.
Yeah, what am I doing with my life? We can have a sexually charged argument right now if you want. I mean, I'm cool with that. What else happened? Oh, there's Kyo and Tohru. Yes, of course. Yes, I asked you. We had a brief interlude where I asked Kayla if Kyo has said the thing about being happy that people would continue to be in Shishou's house would continue to be full when he was locked away. But he doesn't know that Tohru knows that he's going to be locked away yet, so he didn't say that. But Rin being there reminded me of that. So that'll happen. So great.
Yeah.
Rin still hasn't gotten pushed out a window yet. Or no, she got pushed out a window. She hasn't got locked in the cat's room yet.
Yeah.
Who's looking forward to season 3? Anybody? I mean, yay? Yeah. It's okay. It's all okay in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And good dad Cosmo will continue to be there to be a good dad. The most important spoiler discussion that we can have.
Good dad Cosmo continues to good and dad.
Good to good dad. You never believe what this Cosmo does to good dad. Was there any other spoilery things that kind of have, or things that hinted at other things in this episode? Oh, well, Karina's gonna watch the DVD. That's spoiled for next time. We didn't talk about that technically, but yes, next time we talked about what would happen next time, which will be that.
Yeah, he's gonna watch Luigi's
porn.
private porn collection.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's actually not a porn collection. It's just like a collection of weird like flash animations from the 2000s. So it's like Charlie the Unicorn and like
the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Or just like weird like YMTD sites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Badger. And Karina's like, what is this? And Moji's like, this isn't porn. He's like, I just thought there was stuff that, would cheer you up. He seems so down. He puts it in and it goes, everyone loves magical treasure.
Yeah. It's like, watch it alone.
Yeah. Beans, lots of beans, lots of beans, lots of beans.
I guess Luigi kind of looked like he was in the middle of his growing.
Yeah, I guess his glow up, you mean? He's a little taller.
Yes.
He's getting pretty tall. He was like almost at, Karino's shoulder height or something. So
yeah.
Karino's pretty tall, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get there someday.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say like the ugly duckling, but he was never ugly. Like he was never like an ugly duckling.
Yeah.
It's just like he becomes like from a cute duckling to an even better duckling. Like a...
Yeah. It's because from a cute duckling to a handsome swan.
He can actually change species. It's very important.
Yes.
Good. More headcanon to add to the fire. I don't have any other things to say that aren't important. I could sing more Weeple Stuff songs, though, if you want.
Memories.
I sometimes miss the weird internet. The internet's very polished now. There's like...
Mm-hmm.
I watched a video recently about the downfall of Bon Appetit's YouTube presence and just like Bon Appetit in general with all the stuff that's going on. I don't know if you follow this at all, but...
I'm vaguely aware of it.
But I was just like, there's just too many, like, it's just, everything on YouTube is just a bunch of, like, media companies. Not everything. I mean, there's individual YouTuber creators, but, like, there's a lot of content that's just produced by companies. And it's like, where are the old Flash videos that random people made for fun? That's what I want. I miss that on the internet. Okay, now I don't have any other things to talk about that are relevant. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed this episode.
Since when have we had to talk about relevant things?
Another quality hour of talking about Furuba from Ellen and Kayla.
Yes.
It's okay, you only have to suffer
Mostly
Furuba. There's only one more left of this season, so it's okay.
At least like 70% Furuba.
Yeah. Probably, and when I cut it down, it'll be up to like a hefty 80%, I'm sure. Okay, thank you all for listening. As always, actually, really, it's always great.
Yeah.
And hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully the season finale is great, and then we'll be back. So we'll be back next week, then we'll be back next season. Yay. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Excitement.
Yay.